The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And here we are. It's time for another edition of Mix Shots inside the SWBC podcast studio at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. And the star of the show, Mickey Spagnola, is here. Hi, Mickey.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hi, Bill Jones. Hek'ma Harrison is here. And Rob Phillips is here as well. I love this cast of characters.
Characters? You shouldn't talk about Rob like that.
Hey, Mickey. I stole this from you. I knew you were going to be bringing your notebook in here.
You got notes.
Oh, my gosh, Heck.
I brought a notebook myself.
That's Bill. That's Bill. That's Jones's.
Yeah. We love notebooks in here. We were old school in here.
I know.
Yeah,
that's why I brought mine.
Yeah.
Me slacking, bringing my phone and nothing else.
Rob brings his phone.
Yeah, but Rob's got everything on his phone from all the interviews out there.
Good point.
That's
Good
right.
point, Mickey. We just interviewed about 12 position coaches.
Yeah. Well,
The entire staff.
I want to hear all about that, but first.
Okay.
And do you realize that that's the first time we've talked to these guys in like forever?
Did we talk to Joe
Training
Philbin
camp.
last year?
Because
Offensive
talked
line
to him in
coach?
training camp.
No.
Yeah.
Training camp, maybe.
I'm trying to remember if even in
Now, we
training.
talked to Joe Witt in training camp. I remember that. I don't know if we ever got George Edwards. And I think we talked to Witt maybe because Dan Quinn was COVID restricted or whatever. Was that training camp? Or
We
once
talked to
we
Joe
got
Witt in
there?
training camp, but
Yeah.
yes, it's been very limited since
And I
Mike McCarthy
guarantee
took
you,
this job.
we haven't had a chance to introduce ourselves to all those guys,
COVID, man.
right?
I
Because
mean,
last
that's-
year,
yeah,
last year
restrictions.
we never saw any of the assistants. As a matter of fact, with Rob Davis, the assistant head coach, so the day of the draft, I was in the TV room and I was doing something with McCarthy because we were going to do something for outdoor party, whatever. And Rob Davis was in there, and he got done, and he came and introduced himself to me. And I go, "Yeah, you've been here a whole year. I didn't think I'd ever meet you guys." And he goes, "Oh, come on, Mix Shots."
Wow.
The real star of the show.
Yeah, that's
So I'm
right,
not
that's
sure
right.
if he
You
was-
know, we had the open was Mix Shots,
Yeah.
but really it should have been a combination of Talking Cowboys and
Talking
Mix
Shots.
Yeah. something
Talking
like-
shots.
Or taking shots.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Love it.
You know, and I'm trying to remember back when Talking Cowboys first started, Rob, and you were in the school desk.
Thanks for reminding everybody that, Bill. Yes.
And was the internet around? You were taking.
Yes.
It was what? Because you were checking emails, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
all right. Email existed.
So yeah,
it was
okay.
2004.
I was trying to remember if cell phones existed. Since you were on your cell phone then,
No, Twitter didn't
That's
exist,
right.
and maybe the
You
world
were
was
on
a
your-
better place back then,
you were
too.
on a little laptop. Definitely, we were about 6 years away from Twitter. back
Yes.
then. That's right.
Yes. It was a TV show
Yeah.
initially, Heck.
What year? That was 2004.
4.
Okay, Hek'ma, where were you in 2004?
I was, leaving. I was in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Can we ask what you were doing there?
I was going to school.
All right.
Yeah, I was
All right.
going to school in Puerto Rico.
Okay. So
Getting a tan. Mick.
17
I know about
years
that.
I
later.
know you do. That's
All right. So is there news coming out of the position coaches and media sessions today, or this is just a get-to-know-you session?
No, it wasn't get to know. I don't know that there was any breaking news out there.
No, more of just a feel of how each group is doing, asking about specific players.
Yeah.
Joe Philbin talked a lot about, Terrence Steele's development, Lyle Collins coming back, what that mix might look like in the future. George Edwards, Scott McCurley talking about Micah Parsons' development, stuff like that. No real breaking
No
news,
bombshells.
though. Yeah. Yeah,
But it is
it's the bye
nice.
week, Bill.
It is nice to have that opportunity to talk with
Well,
them.
yeah, we didn't get that. Usually in training camp after practice, you could walk off with them as they were going in, and we didn't have that opportunity.
And really, where we got the best opportunity to talk with them outside of training camp was in the springtime during OTAs, where back in the day where we were free to roam,
Yes.
then we would get them coming off the field at practice, and that's gone away now.
And it certainly has. And, what are we, 6 weeks into the season? And that's the first contact we've had with a bunch of those guys.
Yep.
So, yes, absolutely.
All right, so we get started here. And did you happen to see the Monday night game, the end of the Monday night game last night?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I did not.
How about?
I fell asleep in my chair.
I did not.
I woke up in time.
Yeah, my son had a basketball. Had a football game last night. So
Well.
Tell him what happened too.
he, a bunch of house calls and stuff like that. He'll be a guy
Really?
that Bill Jones will be talking about here pretty soon.
Now, how old is he?
He's 14.
14.
Yeah.
Where does he play?
He's at Strady. He's at Strady Middle School. He's a wide receiver.
Heck's not paying for college.
Nah, I'm not.
So what high school will he go to?
We're still trying to decide, Bill.
Okay.
There's a lot to choose from out in that area.
He's being
He's
recruited.
being recruited.
See who gives the most money.
I know the coach at South Lake Carroll.
You're the mayor of South Lake. I know. I heard already.
They've had some wide receivers. They got some quarterbacks in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in there, even though they opt out sometimes.
So what was your question?
All right, 4th and 1s. It relates to the Cowboys and 4th and 1s. Okay, last night it comes down to the end of the game, and Sean McDermott, the coach for Buffalo, it's a 34-31 game, and they could get a first down. They were 1 yard away from the goal line, too, and so it's the end of regulation, and he makes the decision to go for it on 4th and inches. With how much time was 20 seconds, something like that, in that range, instead of kicking a field goal that would have ensured overtime. And he went for it, and they got stopped. Josh Allen on a quarterback sneak gets stopped.
Yeah, who would run a quarterback sneak for 1 yard out?
And on the previous play, Allen had scrambled and almost got the first down.
I think he did, by the way. You don't think so?
That was close.
I've seen
replay.
The replay was a pretty good indicator where that
he was short.
If you look where the ball was, it seemed because they had pretty good technology there on the replay on TV anyway, where it showed where the first down.
Now, why didn't Josh Allen do a DAC and?
Because he was going backwards into it.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Oh, you mean no? I meant on the third down play.
Yeah, I'm saying on the fourth down.
The fourth down,
he fell.
He
slipped.
Who was it that the defensive end that crashed in?
Crashed and hit him.
And it happened so fast.
He lost his footing.
Right. Yeah. So
So
anyway, just my question is, and we've seen it over the last several years, and we're seeing it more and more going for it on fourth down.
I'm going to give you a history lesson.
And I know that analytics plays a little big part in it, and so here we go.
So as Tex Schramm said, was Vince Lombardi wrong going for it at the goal line in that playoff game up in Green Bay?
What year was that?
1967.
67.
NFL championship game, and he could have kicked a field goal to send it into overtime.
Was there a guarantee they were going to be able to make the field goal on ice?
Well, there wasn't, but there wasn't a guarantee that he was going to have footing to get into the end zone.
There was a pretty good guarantee that Jethro Pugh and Bob Lilly wouldn't have footing either.
Well,
to keep him from getting into the end zone.
They didn't have footing on the play before,
right.
Did they?
That's right.
Yeah, neither team.
Which is the point being that there are circumstances that in every situation that make a decision different from one game to another game.
As Tex Schramm said, it was the worst coaching decision he'd ever seen that they went for it.
And I wonder how Tex would have felt about Philadelphia in 1994 on 4th and 1 at the 29-yard line, and Barry Switzer decides to go for it.
Yeah,
twice.
He would have probably thought that was not real bright.
Yeah.
Oh, the old load left? Yeah, that didn't work out so good.
It didn't. But really,
it didn't work out 3 times.
But actually, even on that one, but now we're seeing teams go for it on 4th and 1 at their own 39. I mean, we saw several years ago Bill Belichick, same situation on a 4th and 1 at the 29-yard line. I think against the Colts, he went for it. They got stopped. It's just more and more the philosophy has changed at every level of football, where teams go for it now on 4th down.
You want me to tell you how smart I was at 14 years old watching the play in the Ice Bowl? I yelled at my father because I was a Packers fan, right?
Uh-huh.
I yelled at my father. I go, "What's he doing? If they don't make it, they're going to lose the game. You got to kick the field goal."
Which would have tied it.
Yes.
And forced overtime.
Yep.
Just like last night.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, in 1967, he has all my attention right now. I'm trying to figure out what you were doing at 14 years old, telling your dad he should have kicked the field goal. I mean, and history rewards the bold, so I guess
I was a nerd back there watching every Packer game I can get my eyes on.
You weren't a nerd. You were a middle linebacker at Chicago Heights.
That's right, my God.
Okay,
I was going to ask you how cold the press box was, Mick. But
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You don't think
So
Nick
just
was
in
there.
general, okay, let's put ourselves in the shoes of Sean McDermott last night.
If Mike
And you-
McCarthy would have made that call, they would have blistered him.
But also figure Tennessee, Derrick Henry had 3 touchdowns in that game. They weren't stopping him all night long.
They're on the
if you're
road.
going into overtime, yeah, they were in
On the
Nashville.
road.
Okay, so what do you do facing 4th, and as Switzer would put, 4th and a damn foot, and you're basically, if you score it, and you're a yard away from the goal line too, and a touchdown, a game-winning touchdown, you're that close to winning the game, or do you kick the field goal for overtime? What do you think?
I was for going for it and ending the game right there.
Yeah, and I think that's what teams are doing more now. I think teams, every situation, this is a different situation. You could still extend the game, but I think teams are realizing the way passing offenses are now and the way the game has changed, field goals don't matter anymore. You can't kick field goals and expect to win football games. And so especially if you've got a Josh Allen who's 6'4" and can just dive forward and get a foot, Tom Brady's made a career out of that. Do it. It's ballsy, but that's the way the game's changed. 3 points isn't going to cut it against the Dallas Cowboys or against teams that are that good offensively.
No, I think it's all situational awareness for these head coaches, especially when you talk about the night that Henry had and not being able to stop him. I think you want to end it right there. I'm more on the conservative side. I would kick a field goal and take them into overtime.
Well, and there's a couple of different areas I want to explore on it, because it's kind of the same principle as a 2-point conversion. Let's say it was, paint this scenario where Buffalo scores, they're 1 point down, now they're at the 2-yard line, going for 2 to win the game or kicking it and forcing overtime. That was essentially the situation they were in last night. However, the difference being all they needed was a damn foot to get the first down in that situation.
Well, didn't this just happen recently in college? Somebody went for 2.
Oh, it happens a lot.
So it
Yeah.
was
Arkansas
Arkansas
right?
did last week
'Cause he-
against Ole Miss, and they missed.
and he missed,
yeah,
right?
Right.
But I think he factored in, this is as close as we're going to come
Right.
to winning the game because we're not stopping them in overtime.
A couple of years
right?
ago, Gary Patterson did it for TCU, was playing at Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and they were a decided underdog, and I understood exactly. And as an OU fan, I said, oh, no, please don't go for 2. He went for 2. And Stephen Parker, who's been in and out with the Cowboys, made the play to win the game for OU. And so I certainly understand it when you're an underdog going for it. In Buffalo, you might be the best team. Up until last night, you were the best team in the AFC, maybe in football. And
What was the score and final score of that game?
34-31.
Yeah, their defense
Right.
and all that.
Well, that's the thing with Derrick Henry, and then you're getting into an overtime scenario.
And that's why I think situational awareness, again, if you're playing a game where you're not stopping these guys and you have an opportunity to end the game, I would agree right there. But you make a valid point with who they are as far Buffalo, the team, the way that they are perceived. They are looked upon as a powerhouse, squad right now. And you're surprised. I know I was surprised to hear about it the next morning that they went for it the way that they did.
Because they had the best defense in the league last year. Now, Derrick Henry.
It's Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It's situational awareness.
Okay.
Well, let's just, you know what? I'll guarantee you that, let's bring it back to the Cowboys.
And I was about
on their final drive in regulation, I'll guarantee you they weren't playing for a field goal. They ended up having to kick the field goal to tie it. I'll guarantee you their idea was, we need to go score a touchdown, right? And then in overtime, I think everybody was thinking, and I think New England was thinking this too, but the way they ran the play for the winning touchdown, that, they're just going to throw underneath of these tight ends, nibble, get some more yards, and then they're going to
do
kick
what
a
Brady
field
did
goal.
against
Even with
us.
a minute
Right.
and 14 in the
Right.
game, you're saying that the plan was to go down and score a touchdown and not play for the field goal.
And I liked what Zeke said afterwards. He goes, we were thinking 6 the whole time. We wanted 6. And I think the way New England played it, they took away Jarwin, they took away Schultz, and they forgot about CeeDee Lamb crossing across the middle.
I mean, there's just too many options on this offense right now.
Exactly.
And Kellen Moore spoke yesterday about how they were persistent with the running game. You look at the time of possession on Sunday, and it was 36-21 or something.
Crazy
it was
number.
crazy, and I think they wore them down and got the play action going. And I just think it reaches a point where there's too many options for defense to defend over 60 minutes. I mean, it's crazy right now.
39-26.
Yeah, 39-26.
Because of the overtime.
I think
Because
they
of overtime.
I think they felt like they were wearing them down and had a chance to go win.
And
the
they
game
were
right there.
seeing the game. That's what the beautiful thing about having Tony Romo up in that booth. They were seeing the game much like what Tony Romo was up in the booth, and he was calling it earlier on that same play that was a scoring play. And they called timeout on the previous possession, and Romo said, they've got it right there. And they called timeout. But he illustrated it, and it was actually with was it a wide receiver?
Cooper, maybe.
Okay, but he was split out further wide. It was more of a bunch formation with CD, but it was the same concept with with the play fake, roll right, and the receiver on the far left comes across the field. So they knew that they had it. They had that play in their back pocket, just like Romo was telling us in the broadcast booth.
Initially, they obviously the mentality may have been to go and score, but you got to think on the pass to CeeDee Lamb across the middle. I think, what was that, 2nd and 3rd and 35 or something like that because of the penalty?
3rd and 25.
Yeah.
3rd and 25. So, I mean, they had to pick up a lot of yardage at that point to even be in the area to kick a field goal.
Right. So now you're 4th and 1. Back on that one, I was sitting there going, wait a second, we lost it down there. What happened? Because on TV they didn't explain that it was the unsportsmanlike conduct was a dead ball foul, and so I'm sitting there, I'm looking at my play sheet going, wait, it's 3rd down, it's not 4th down. Why are they kicking it?
I mean, they could have declined.
They had the option.
Foul.
They could have
and taken the down.
But even with the yards, it's a 15-yard.
Right.
So I'm thinking, I thought that it would. I thought the unsportsmanlike. They ruled that it happened in the course of the play and not a dead ball.
I thought they were going to get both.
And the reason that they took it was because of the yardage, but obviously they took it not only because of the yardage, but the loss of down too. The other thing on the 4th and 1. After the block punt in the first half, Cowboys are in that. It's not the end of the game, but they're in a scenario where you score a touchdown, you're taking the lead in the game. Did anyone have a problem with going for it on 4th down at the goal line on the quarterback sneaks?
No.
With that?
No, I
didn't either. It didn't even occur to me to kick it because
let's just get that chip in that football, man.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, there's got to
We've
be
been talking about that on our show.
Yeah, we've been talking about technology for a while on our show, but I thought he scored on 3rd down, and obviously they didn't call it.
Clearly he did.
Yeah. But also, and Nick just brought this up, and I think this is a great point. Even going for it on 4th down right there, if you don't get it, the team gets the ball at the 1-yard line. And you put your defense back out, and that's advantageous. But it's a touchback, and it comes back out to the 25.
Yeah.
So no, that didn't work in your favor at all.
Jerry was asked about the chip in the football on the Fan this morning. He didn't sound like completely adverse to it. I think probably because it's happened twice to his team now this season, where it's like they're making a call on the field on something they can't see.
Tell you what.
So
who did they ask?
Jerry.
Jerry.
Let's get into that when we come back here on Talking shots.
Maybe taking shots.
I like it.
Yeah, taking shots returns in a moment.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mixed Shots.
Speaking of all that, download the official app of the Dallas Cowboys to get access to in-market game broadcasts, mobile tickets, daily podcasts, live pregame and postgame shows, game updates, and more. I don't know how much more you can get. Download in the app or Google Play stores.
I miss these reads.
I do too. Are we gonna get the Jack? Is it Jack Black mango shea butter read?
Oh, we don't have Jack Black on our little list.
Man, you know that is.
You need to. I get this from your wife, so you just need to.
Okay. I need to figure out.
Go find an old Jack Black.
Jack Black.
I gotta get mango shea butter.
How did you start that? Speaking of what? What were we speaking of?
We were talking about the Twitter and having phones, and I said,
people out there are not.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, they can't hear us.
They're not hearing us in the break.
That was for you guys.
Oh, okay. All right.
Gotta have some.
You're just
inside
talking with
stuff.
us. You're not talking.
Yeah.
You're not talking to
Well, you
your
could talk
fans
to
out
Mickey.
there. Yeah.
They will understand.
The show it hadn't changed a bit. It's the same it's been for 15 years.
Warms my heart.
It does.
What you
We
mean.
need to do a mixed shot today at some point.
Yeah, right.
Rob, you're talking about Jerry on the radio. I take it you listen to Jerry on the radio. So
You take it
continue.
correctly. He was asked about that goal line play. That's the second time that's happened to the Cowboys this season, where Dak is denied a touchdown. And look, I think he's got to be careful because of the competition committee, and that's something that would have to come up in the offseason. And it's probably a touchy point because you're talking about changing kind of the integrity of the game. I mean, this is the argument in baseball where why do you have umpires? Why don't you just have a radar that tells you whether it's a ball or a strike? But he didn't sound completely adverse to maybe doing something like that in the future because of the fact that referees are making calls on the field of something they can't see. And I think there's merit to it. I think it's something they need to look at. Whether it gets passed or not, it needs to get discussed, I think.
So I asked McCarthy what the official told him. Mm-hmm. And he said he couldn't see the ball. And I said, well, obviously he didn't see the ball because it was across the goal line and he didn't see it. and it was like, they can't see it, except if they saw your shot above. And if there's a sky judge up there, he might be able to see it. And if they got a camera above the goal line, that might be able to see it. But the guy, so if he couldn't see it, how did he know to put it 6 inches from the goal line?
They're They're guessing.
Exactly. They were just guessing.
Because like I said yesterday, I've been on the goal line during those preseason games when I was doing the broadcast like the third guy on the field, and you stand on the goal line when the ball's there, and you can't see. You have to be 7 foot tall to see. That's why they need that stand that I told you about yesterday, like volleyball. Just get the guy up in the air so you can see.
That's an accident waiting to happen.
Well, even on that,
we can put padding on it, you know?
Yeah, right.
But even on that,
we put padding on a camera on the pylon.
And apparently it doesn't work.
But even on that, with a quarterback sneak, where the quarterback's going down low, and you got 6'5", 300-pound linemen around them, you aren't going to be able to see. But that overhead drone shot, you can see on that one. And sometimes, so the competition committee, they need to look at this play and say, how do we fix this play to get it right? Because if the officials are trained that they cannot call a touchdown unless they see the ball go across the goal line, well, a ball carrier is covering up the football, number one, protecting it, and so you technically are not seeing the ball across the goal line, even if you're not blocked on it. But there needs to be standard operating procedure on a play on the goal line like that if the officials can't see it, you go to replay.
Well, he didn't see it because they never called it until they unpiled him.
Exactly. Or give him the option. You give him the option to unstack the pile.
Why did you wait to unpile him and you see the ball's in the end zone and then you
It's basically the first observation of the football after the play was that Dak was on the ground across the goal line with the ball across the goal line, and so that's why it should have been a touchdown.
Well, my question is, how wonky is it that this has happened twice to the Dallas Cowboys on a routine play that shouldn't be easy? We're making something difficult that actually should be easy for league officials. I mean, I don't know how many quarterback sneaks there are a week at the goal line, but I dare to say that there are a lot. So whatever the SOP is, standard operating procedure for it, it's wrong. And they got to figure that out because it's happened twice.
All I know, in 1988, Tex Schramm told me they should put a chip in the football and put a laser across the goal line, and we can figure out how to do this. We could put a man on the moon, but we can't figure out how to see if the ball crosses the goal line.
They do it in tennis.
Yeah, they do. You're right, Chris. And baseball, they've argued for it for a while, at least. But baseball purists is a whole different level.
They told Tex he was crazy.
But didn't Jerry say on this morning that Tex said don't want it to be Star Wars, right?
No, he wanted to do it
or Sky Wars, as you would say.
Yeah, Sky Wars.
Yeah.
And forgot about that part, right?
Sky Wars.
The competition committee thought he was nuts, right? He was so far ahead of his time, it was unbelievable. And he was so far ahead of his times on a lot of things.
Yeah, he was.
That people didn't understand.
I got a question here, Bill. Guys, you listened to the interview with Jerry and the Lael Collins coming back, and they asked him the question about Lael and Steele. What's your take on that?
What the last part he said?
Yeah.
About how he thinks both could wind up playing a lot in every game?
Yes.
I don't know what to make of that because I don't know if Jerry's just trying to kind of massage the situation.
It's a bye week.
But no, I mean, and you know what? That question was asked to Coach Philbin about you take the bye week to kind of assess where your line is, assess what alternatives, what options you might have. Because he said, he was asked, are you a best five kind of guy? He said, yeah, in theory, yes. So now what do you do? What do you do with Lael Collins coming back and Terrence Steele playing as well as he does? And I think your question is, could one of the guys play guard?
Steele has never played guard in his life.
And he doesn't look like he could play guard either.
Joe kind of, he was asked about that, and he said, we've played him at tackle his whole career. I think that's where he's most comfortable.
Don't you want a right tackle that you don't have to protect? They're protecting Terrence Steele, okay? They're protecting him with play calls. They're protecting him with two tight end offense. And it's not always to his side, but it's to the other side, so the defense has to shift over there. You don't think Lael Collins is a better right tackle than Terrence Steele?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Did I say that?
No.
It sounded like the inference was coming.
No, Jerry was referencing both guys being able to maybe play together on the line. Now, I don't know if that means some kind of maybe a rotation at right tackle or if they're going to look at possibly I don't think they would move Lyle Collins to guard. I don't see that.
I'm wondering if he's talking about a rotation.
Because he hasn't played in he won't have played in 7 weeks, right? Do you send him out there to play 65 snaps, or do you say, okay, let's get him going?
Mike's answer yesterday, I think, hinted at that. He said, he had short amount of training camp reps too, because remember he was banged up at the end of camp.
Right.
Let's get into practice next Wednesday and see where he's at. He's been working out. He's been in the building. He looks good.
But he hadn't played football.
Don't forget he missed all last season,
yes,
too.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
He's played 1 game since 2019.
But do you worry about that, being that he's a seasoned vet and that Britt Brown and staff do such a wonderful job with these guys coming back? I mean, he was able to get Chauncey Golston back after not playing any in training camp. So do you worry about that for Lael, who's been in the league for a while?
Oh, no. That's why I'm saying he's out there. To me, he may not be able to do all 65 snaps.
I agree with you. I think if he's conditioning-wise, if he's good to go, I think you put him back in there.
I think if you have concerns about that Collins, that you've got an option with Steele, and you're concerned about the conditioning of Collins coming back, let's say Minnesota next week, you just sell it to Lyle that, okay, it's a long season. You're our starting right tackle. We're going to play you 2 series, and then we're going to bring Steele in. The plan going in is, and then Steele plays the 3rd series and whatever, just to make sure that from a conditioning standpoint, you're up to speed. One of the interesting things about it, I mean, you see for forever defensive linemen have rotated in. Now, there's a lot of energy that goes into it, but traditionally, offensive linemen always play the entire game.
You don't see that.
No, not at all.
So, Hek'ma, you asked the question. What's your answer?
Well, I mean, I think the answer is you put Lael Collins back in right tackle. There's not a position battle going on here. But I think it's interesting when you say that the offense has been limited, or not limited. They've had to protect that right tackle because of the edge rushers that they've had, and they still are number 1 in the league even with those limitations.
If Lael was out there, they'd have 600 yards. Total yards.
Come on, man.
Now wait, hang on a second. You were out there with me talking to Coach Philbin, and you asked 2 or 3 questions about how Terrence Steele has developed.
Because I've got to do a story on him for the Game Day magazine.
Well, let's not minimize what he's done out there.
No, I'm not.
And you're not wrong. I mean, sometimes you'll see Dalton Schultz, sometimes you'll see Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin chipping out there.
And sometimes you'll see the running back moving over there to chip.
But sometimes he's been out on his own.
I know.
And I think more than anything, what he's done, he has been really good in the run game. He has been really good as a run blocker.
How about this? Especially on the goal line when you're facing 3rd and goal or 4th and goal, you have a super jumbo package.
I like that.
I like that. Terrence Steele and Connor McGovern report in as eligible, and you play one at fullback and one at tight end, or you can.
And then you use Ralston at fullback,
and then you run Zeke.
Jeez, that is a super jumbo package.
That's like
Then you run Zeke and you run over some poor cornerback on the outside.
And let's
how many receivers you got on the field?
Yeah,
there?
none. We don't have any.
No, not a one.
Not one.
Okay.
It's 4th and 1. I don't need a quarterback sneak.
That's right. And you get one of them behind Dak on the quarterback sneak, and he's pushing him into the end zone.
What do you think? What would be your answer here with Lyle coming back?
I don't mind what I just said about, okay, you start Collins and then say the 3rd series or whenever it is, Steele comes in for a series or whatever, just to get him up to speed,
Okay.
I'd bring this up. I just did an interview with the University of Liberty coach, Hugh Freeze. They're playing North Texas this Saturday. Kyle and I are calling the game. But he also rotates out his offensive linemen. And that's a very weird phenomenon. And, I asked about the synergy between offensive, and he had the synergy between the offensive line, and I think that's what coaches worry about. He was like, hey, man, we're going to have these guys compete. So to hear that on a professional level that could possibly happen, I think I'm intrigued by that as well.
I wonder if it's easier to do at a tackle position where the guy is on the edge and he's communicating specifically with the best guard in football next to him.
No, Tom did it with a guard.
Huh?
Landry did it with a guard. Didn't he used to send plays in? They'd switch the guard.
He did. Yeah.
He'd send in a new guard with the play.
He just went the archive on you and just hit you.
Of course, Landry did that with quarterbacks too.
Right.
He said Tom. He said Tom, and you said who?
You know what I was fishing.
We have to go back. We have to flash back at least 10 times an episode. So
what I was fishing for with Philbin was for him to tell me that Steele was now the backup swing tackle, that he could play left. He showed he can play right.
Maybe that's what Jerry's getting
and
at. They'll spell Tyron every third series
and not have to put Ty Nsekhe on the field.
Well, I think if you're looking at the depth chart right now, that's the case, right?
But we haven't seen him at left tackle since training camp, right? Steele.
Yeah, taking reps for Tyron.
Right.
By the way, I didn't see, is Brandon Knight back?
He got claimed by Baltimore.
Oh, did he?
I did not see that.
I saw that report
as I'm
checking.
I know he got signed
yesterday.
Brandon Knight got signed by the Knicks, but it was different.
That's a different Brandon Knight.
It was the same day. The same day Brandon Knight got cut by the Cowboys, Brandon Knight got signed by the Knicks. I thought, wow, I didn't even know he could play basketball.
Hell of an athlete.
That shows you the lack of quality offensive linemen in this league. That a Brandon Knight gets released and somebody right away claims him.
And that's why I think, because people were bagging on Terrence Steele last year. 14 starts. There were some tough moments. Mickey's probably the president of that club, but they
finally listened to me and moved Martin out there, didn't they?
They saw something in him, and they have been very patient with his development, and it's paid off.
Well,
you're right. It's hard to find a guy that can develop into a starter.
Philbin said he's had 1,000 snaps last year or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now 6 more games. So now, experience helps these guys.
I have such an axe to grind with offensive linemen anyway, and the way that the way that they're playing football, nobody huddles up. Offensive linemen just stand around the line of scrimmage, and there's no more line blocking in football. It's all zone blocking anyway.
Well, especially in college
and high school. It's just, so the development of offensive linemen. I think that's where we see it once it gets to the pro level, where these guys such a dramatic drop off from the top tier guys to the second level.
There's not enough of them. That's why the other leagues fail, because they've got no offensive linemen. The spring leagues, and then the quarterbacks have no shot, and then the running backs have no shot, and then how are you going to get the ball to the wide receiver? Unfortunately, it's the offensive linemen, and no one wants to develop those guys, because if there's anybody athletic in high school, they ain't on the offensive line. They're on the defensive line, right? That's the last resort. Okay, go play offensive line. Brodsky's old saying.
Heck Jr.'s too good to play offensive line, huh?
Oh, that's never going to happen. unless it's left tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
the primo position.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Come on, no way.
He's a wide receiver, though.
He's a wide receiver. Yeah. He's 6'2", he's 14 years old. So let's just pray that he's 6'5", 300 pounds.
Right.
So we'll put him out there. Hey, how you start is how you finish.
Jason Peters, he was a tight end.
There it is.
Arkansas. Yep. So, all right, we continue with more Mix Shots. Can't wait for the next read coming up next.
Yes.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the Star, where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
Back to Mixed Shots.
Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders making the team is back for another exciting season. Don't miss new episodes every Friday at 9, 8 Central, only on CMT.
Are you on that show?
I am not.
He has been before.
You have been, that's right.
Yes.
As a judge?
COVID knocked me off.
So no more Mickey on.
Well, we'll see if COVID ever goes away. Maybe they'll ask me to return as a judge. I was one of the better ones, by the way.
I bet you were. I bet you were. Hey.
I can recognize athletic ability.
The Bingham Baller 9 has tweeted, why we got to have a bye on National Tight End Day. Sunday, October 24th is National Tight Ends Day. Did you know that?
Did not know that.
No.
I didn't know that
There
either,
really is a day for everything, isn't there?
Very thankful I didn't.
About these tight ends.
That would be Dalton Schultz, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes. Dalton Schultz.
Where are we going?
Yeah.
All right. I like this.
About these tight ends. Been rather productive. The offense has been rather productive when both those tight ends are on the field.
So
we're talking 12 personnel there, Mickey.
Yes, I know what 12 personnel is. So maybe when they don't have to have Steele out at right tackle, they'll go back to just 3 wide receivers all the time?
You think?
No, I'm joking.
They have played more 12 this year.
They have.
Than they did last year.
And remember how
that might be part of it. Some of it's Michael Gallup, maybe not,
how much Garrett got criticized for too much 12 personnel? And God forbid if you put 3 tight ends out there.
Well, you're missing a starting receiver and you're missing your right tackle.
Yeah.
So logically, it makes sense to do it.
Or you do it out of necessity for teams that you think you can run on. And your running game has rewarded you in that aspect over the last, from week 2 on. You've seen what the running game has done as far as developing the rest of your play calling. So, credit Kellen Moore. And for that. And even if it was just a situation with Leo Collins, it's paid off because of where we are as far as our rushing offense.
Yep.
I think if you don't have the 1985 Bears defense, it's hard to match up with the different things this offense can do.
The 85 Bears?
Yes.
Flashback. Wow. Yeah. And
you know what I mean.
I just went and looked.
Because you got to be able to match up evenly. You can't say, okay, I'm going to take away the run because they'll beat you with the pass, or you're going to take away the pass, they'll beat you with the run.
And let me throw this in. Let me throw this in. This is back when they had, of course, they didn't have Zach Martin this game, but they did have Lyle Collins this game. And against one of the best rush defenses in the league, Tampa Bay. How many snaps did the tight ends get in that game? Jarwin had 57 and Schultz 48 in that game.
Wow.
And Jarwin hadn't played in a year.
Right. Or vice versa. I may have that backwards. But one way or the other, they were using 2 tight ends a lot in a game where they threw the ball 58 times, whatever it was. Yeah.
58.
And just think about how much different that game would have been if you had Zach Martin in that game. Zach Martin and Collins right next to each other for the first time. I think that changes the whole dynamic and how you approach that game.
I think they win that game because I think they're able to run the ball, maybe extend that. Nick brought up a point that the last drive of the game, I think CD had the drop. If they're able to run the ball there, then you're not settling for a field goal at the end.
They still should have won it.
Yeah, well, they didn't. But yeah, I mean, Zach. I think that question was asked to Joe Philbin. Is this the best he's played? I think this is the best we've seen Zach Martin play. He really, he changes everything for this offensive line up front. The tight ends block, to your point, are blocking better. I think Dalton Schultz has emerged as more of a blocking tight end, and that helps the versatility of the offense.
Man.
But watching the game from the press box Sunday, to Mickey's point, and I was traveling all day yesterday. I need to go back and watch it. It seemed like the Pats played a lot of zone in the second half defensively, and guys are just running wide open in the second half, finding space. There's just, I said it at the top of the show, there's just too many guys to try to handle on this offense. And you can hold them down for 60 minutes and they can beat themselves for a lot of that game, and it still doesn't matter. Dak's going to put up 450 yards. I mean, it really is incredible what they're doing right now.
And then they tried to go man on the winning touchdown.
Wasn't that crazy?
That didn't work out.
No, it didn't. Right? And that's why one of my questions was for Belichick was, how did you stay in man so long with knowing that CeeDee Lamb was going to expose him? You saw the safety bite down on the tight end and CeeDee Lamb take that route right across. He was wide open. But they played us in man a lot. And second half, they did switch it up. If they didn't switch it up, our offense would have just – it would have been more than 445 yards passing.
Okay,
Mick, wait. Before you say what the last thing you're going to say, because we're almost out of time here. That just flew by. Is this a mix shot that you're going to provide us?
I was going to throw out a question, but
let's turn it into a mix shot. Okay. Here it is, a mix shot to close out mix shots.
There's music.
Chris, it's incredible.
My question was going to be, and this will be a mix shot, do you think Dak Prescott will be ready to play against the Minnesota Vikings?
Are you saying we buried the lead on this show?
I don't think we brought up his name once.
Is he going to be able to play against Minnesota?
I think.
Is that your question?
What I've been told is it is a calf strain.
Yes.
And the goal is to have him ready for the Vikings game. But that doesn't mean he will be ready. He's still in a walking boot,
so
by the way.
You are concerned? Color you concerned?
Well, here's my other question. There now seems to be a rash of calf injuries in the NFL. There was one last night, and I think when I read injuries, there was like 2 or 3 more calf injuries.
Didn't Kareem Hunt get one?
Yep.
Yesterday. Yeah.
What's with the calf?
And he's out 4 to 5 weeks. But it's different between Michael Gallup, a skill position guy that's got to run all day, and a quarterback.
Or a running back, right? The quarterback still got to have his 2 feet going.
I think you're right. I think this would have been super dicey this week. I don't even think he'd play if it were a game this week.
Now, he says he would have, but
because they're not even – look, Mike said they're going to reevaluate him Monday.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a chance. But Mike couched it yesterday and said there's variance with these soft tissue deals. And again, you don't want to rush it because you could re-injure that and re-injure it. It's like a hamstring injury, a hell of a lot worse than the first time. So yeah, I don't think there's any guarantee that he's playing against Minnesota.
I mean,
but I think the key point of it is it's not considered a severe injury,
right?
And that's the best part about it.
But I think he's going to be in that boot all week to keep the pressure off of it. I mean, I saw the boot that Michael Gallup was wearing that next week, and it was huge. And he was moving well on it, but you can't play quarterback with it on, right?
I don't think the Jordan brand makes a shoe like that, but
as Dak explained,
they might now. They might think about that.
Engineers are busy trying to construct one.
Yeah,
but
and from 2 guys that have worn that boot way too many times, right?
Yes. And that was when he first walked in the press room in Gillette with that on, it was like, oh my God, has he not been through enough?
Was there a reason why when he walked in and pronounced, okay, let's take care of the elephant in the room, and then somebody asked about the game? That wasn't the first question.
It wasn't the first question?
No, it was the second question. And he invited the first question. All right, let's take care of the elephant in the room.
We're getting kicked out of here.
What did you think about the versatility of this offense to be able to score that many points and win?
Yeah.
I'm watching him right now as after the plane landed and walking to his car from the charter, and he'll be fine.
He was kind of laughing at us on the way out too, like, y'all are going to make a huge thing about this, and it's not that big a deal.
No, Mickey just did. He just put everybody in Cowboy Nation just took a dose of Pepto right there when he just did that.
Bubble guts?
Yeah, it's a little bubble guts emerged. There you go,
just put us on red alert.
Thank you, Mickey.
Spoiled our bye week.
No, he's saying maybe Vikings.
Keep your eye on the calf, but the goal is to be ready for the Vikings. That's what I said.
You're right.
But it was the goal. It wasn't, he will be ready for the. No one has said that. Everybody's been very optimistic. Oh, okay. Well, let me on my mix shots tomorrow.
Can we
Bill
just play
Jones said.
Before we get out of here, can we just play the mix shots intro one more time?
Please.
I just need that in my life.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Genius.
There it is.
I'm ready for the rest of the day.
Oh, and Nate's here. We got to get out of here.
Oh, we better move.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right. That does it for this edition of Talkin' Mix Shots Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!